Hey, good morning, guys. Pastor Gary here again. We're going to build something today. I wanted to come at you this morning in the woods again and talk about some awesome truths that the last time we were out here, God just really spoke to my heart about and thought was really awesome, especially with this whole idea of Easter being behind us now. We've seen that God's goodness is so good, and that we don't have to wait for a big day and then it's back downhill. God takes the broken things, the things that are dead, and rejuvenates them to life. So we're going to take a dead piece of wood, a piece of wood that is no good, and we're going to take it just like God does and reforms it and changes it into something new and great that we can use today. I'm thinking of a tic-tac-toe board. I like to play tic-tac-toe. I hate it when CJ beats me or Connect Four or with those kind of games. But I think that game and the fact that we're taking this broken, dead wood, destroyed, rotten out by critters, or just the fact that the wind has knocked it over and it's no good anymore. The life is gone from that tree. We're going to relate that to how God saves a sinner like you and me when we are dead and lost in our sin, and how God restores us and gives life to us. We heard this last week about Lazarus. If you were on the church website and you saw the videos that we had out each night or each day, we heard a story about Lazarus and how God called him and commanded him to come forth. And if he didn't say Lazarus, the whole stinking graves would have woken up and come forth. But Jesus knows you, Jesus knows me by name, and he calls us. And he says, come, today is a day of salvation. So, just as he gave new life to Lazarus, we're going to see what God can do with this old dead piece of wood that is no good, sitting out here in the woods to be rotten and turn into mush. But we're going to take it and turn it into something beautiful, because that's what God wants to do with you and with me every day. He wants to turn us into something beautiful every day. But we got to go to the master. We got to see what he can create that day and see that it's good. Right here. I like this. It's already on the ground. No chainsaw needed. You could do it with your hand saw. Shout out to Samantha. If you guys didn't see, she made the deer. Wonderful job, Samantha. You did so well on that deer. If anybody else did any pictures of the thing they created last week, I would love to see it. Put a snapshot out there so I could see. And everybody else, I think it's great to see what you guys can make, because you guys are awesome. Anyway, back to the project here. We have our piece of wood here we're going to bring in. I'm just going to cut off about 1 foot. Good cut. Nice and easy. Good old rigid saw helped me out here. Made it go so much better. So now we're going to take our piece and take that inside. All right, guys, I have my wood here. My station's set up and I'm ready to go. What I'm going to do is cut about a good 2 to 3 inches. It does whatever you feel is good for you. I'm thinking this is something you can put on your table and make a board, but you'll see we're just going to cut a sliver of this and make a game board out of it. Remember, whenever you're using a chainsaw, a saw, a chop saw, any kind of tool, you need to wear the right safety protection. Goggles, always cover your eyes. In the midst of my chop saw, it likes to spit a lot of wood out, so I'm going to cover up even my mouth and nose. I don't want to eat wood this morning. So we'll get all ready. Girls, after you make your cut, you don't need to wear the safety glasses anymore. You can take off your mask. Totally up to you if you want to peel the bark off or you can leave it on. I'm gonna The ones that fall off, I'll pull off. The ones that stay, stay. Now I'm gonna, this you can see on this piece, it can look kind of rough on the blade. We'll take a sander, sand that down real good. Alrighty, after you sand it, like I said, you can use a sandpaper, sand it down real good. You can use a palm sander. You can use a disc sander as I did. Totally up to you, your call on that. Next, you will divide the game board with evenly 9 squares as a tic-tac-toe board. So I'm using my little speed square here, and I will divide it evenly with a Sharpie, and then I'll show you the next step. After we make our tic-tac-toe board, we're going to take the saw. I would prefer you to use something strong and sturdy, and you're just going to not do it in your hand. You'll put it down, but you just want to go back and forth nice and slow over each line, creating a groove in the black line with your Sharpie. After you cut, you hold your thing in a piece of wood. You're just going to go back and forth really good with it. Again, always keep your eyes on it. I've already cut mine, but I'm just showing you stay in that groove, and you're just going to go back and forth on each line, back and forth. After you divide the lines, you'll have a permanent cut to your wood. Now, you're going to take the drill. The last step you have is your drill. You'll take your drill. You want a nice good sized drill bit, like a marble size, because that's what you're going to use for your game. You'll take your drill and you'll drill each hole, 9 of them, center of the square. Again, if you need to, put a pen or a Sharpie dot on each one. You just kind of put it right in the center. That way you know where you're drilling. Again, put it in a secure place when you drill. As you're drilling, I would suggest you don't hold it. You put it down on something and you drill, as I'm using a workbench table. You're done. Your piece of wood is good. You have your game board. You're ready to go. Isn't that awesome that God, just like this piece of wood that was left to decay and rot out in the woods, God doesn't leave us dead in our sin. He takes us and he makes something beautiful out of us. So we in turn come to walk in a newness of life that he created us to live. He said, I have come to give you life. Not just life, but I have come to give you an abundant life, full of joy and peace and goodness. So what can you do today? How can you take your life that God has blessed and given and make something beautiful out of it? Who can you bless today? Thank you guys for building something with Pastor Gary. I hope you had fun. And again, snap a shot. Send it to me. I want to see your board.